Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. Today on the channel we have the first automatic lock with 3D facial recognition on the market. This is the SwitchBot Lock Ultra, a device that will help us automate the process of opening and closing our home's door. Whether it's raining, our hands are full, or we just don't want to take the keys out of our bag. It will allow this by entering a code using near-field communication cards or, as I mentioned at the beginning, through facial recognition. It's a super advanced device, one of the best we can find on the market, and we're going to discover it in this video. Let's start the video by explaining how these locks work. Imagine that when you're at home, you lock and unlock the door with a key. Okay, so you do this movement manually, but it can also happen with other doors, where there's a key on one side, and on the other side, there's a device that you turn by hand, but it's always integrated with the door. Okay, so all these types of movements are what allow us to automate an automatic lock. An automatic lock basically attaches to the inside part of our door. We insert the key we usually use to open it, or a universal coupler to be able to turn it. All these types of mechanisms allow us to lock and unlock our home door. This SwitchBot Ultra comes with a lot of accessories to adapt it to different door opening mechanisms. We can adapt to 99% of doors. Now there are nuances, I'll show you and you'll see some images they have on their site. A small questionnaire in which you will enter the characteristics of your locks so that it tells you which lock would be compatible, which wouldn't, or if you need any additional accessories. What's the case with my house? In my house, I have a lock, but it's not a double clutch lock. What does this mean? It means that when I insert a key from the inside, I can't insert another one from the outside, from the street. What problem does this cause? Well, if I put my house key in this device and leave it in the door for 24 hours every day of the year, if one day this device fails, runs out of battery, or simply gets stuck or any kind of problem happens, I'll be locked out since I can't insert the key from outside. How do you fix this? Well, there are different ways. One is to take the risk and install it, even though we're aware that we won't be able to access it from the outside, in case there was a problem. Or simply change the lock for a double clutch one, which pretty much all modern houses already have. If your house has a mechanism with a key on the outside and a fixed mechanism on the inside, you'll be able to adapt it without any problem. And another thing I really liked is that the installation takes about, 15 or 20 minutes. In 15 or 20 minutes, you'll have it working. It's very simple. Tighten the screws, insert the key until it clicks, and that's it. No other assembly needed. You install the app, link it, and it's already functional through your phone's Bluetooth or with the touch or vision combo. Installing this device is very easy. I'm going to show it to you on this fake frame or door that SwitchBot sent us so I can show you how this automatic lock works. Since on my door I would have to make an adjustment to prepare it properly for use. Okay, this door, so to speak, you'll see it in the shots. We have a key on one side and on the other side there's a mechanism that we turn. This door has a key on one side and a fixed mechanism on the other. This allows us to perform various simulations. In my case, what I decided to do was take one of the keys that SwitchBot brought us and put it inside what would be the device. It involves installing a screw-tightened holder, which is simple and can be easily disassembled and reassembled as needed. And then we put the key into a slot so that the little motor of the automatic lock can turn it, just like we would do it ourselves. We don't need any glue or absolutely anything. It's done in a super simple way. However, if you have a different door, a different mechanism, just so you know, SwitchBot has perfectly explained videos recorded on their YouTube channel. So you can see all the different types of installations that there can be. So, by following a video, you won't have any problems installing it. Also, this pack comes with a magnetic sensor that will detect when the door is opened and closed, to send notifications to our phone, like alerting us if the door is left open, or just record and track each time the door opens and closes. They've sent us a full combo though. You could just buy the lock, but in this case, I'm going to show you two additional accessories. In this case, it's the touch combo. What this device will allow us to do is to install it using some anchors, for example, on the outside of our house. So hey, if we don't want to open it with our phone, we can open it using a code, which we will set up in the app and that we can enter into this device here. We also have the option to unlock it using a fingerprint or near-field communication cards. On the other hand, we also have the Vision Combo, the device that will allow us to open the front door using 3D facial recognition. Would it be a device similar to the Touch Combo? We have the part where you enter a numeric code, fingerprint cards. But also, in the strip we have right in the middle, we have a 3D facial sensor. What it allows is to recognize, so to speak, through many points. All the, so to speak, shapes of our face. This generates a map of our face so that, for example, it can't be faked with a picture and someone could access our house. It's a completely secure device which can't fail because, as I said, it detects the depths of the face. It works with infrared, it works completely in the dark. And what about the false positive rate? Just so you get an idea, it's 0.0001%. That means out of 100 people who come to our house, 0.0001% could unlock the door, which is completely unlikely. Then we have more ways to unlock the door. We have up to 18 ways to unlock the door, which is really great. We have the possibility that when our phone gets close to the door, it unlocks automatically. You can unlock it through the app, unlock it with a smartwatch, or even integrate it with voice assistants. This device, the SwitchBot Lock Ultra, is compatible with the Matter standard, which allows us to connect it with all those assistants, with Siri, with Alexa, or even with Google Home or Google Assistant. I believe this lock type has an advantage. And that's when, for example, we want to invite someone to our house while we're on vacation, we can create a one-time use code or a temporary code for them. That is, we tell them, hey, you'll be able to access every day from 8 to 9 at night. And during that time frame, you'll be able to enter a code that I'll generate for you so you can get in. However, you, for example, personally have another code and you enter in a different way. Or, for example, can you create a single-use code for someone who is only going to enter your house once? And as soon as they enter the code and open the door, it locks, and that code can't be used again. This is an advantage because for a regular person, giving someone a key means going to the hardware store and making a copy. In this example, you easily open your house door. Now let's discuss user experience. I'm going to compare it with some data I've been looking up about other locks, because this is the first automatic lock I've tried. It's 122%, for example, compared to the Lock Pro from SwitchBot. That means it unlocks more than twice as fast as the Lock Pro. 10% more force. So, if you have an old lock that's a bit hard to turn and all that, just know that it gains a bit of strength and noise. It has 3 configuration modes. We can set it up quickly and it'll open right away with just a few clicks. Or a slow mode, where it turns really slowly so it hardly makes any noise. And you can set it up this way, for example, from midnight to 8 in the morning, it turns slowly, and the rest of the day, it opens really fast. Now it has an auto-calibration feature that helps us know how many stops our door has. That is, if it turns 3 times to lock the door when we leave the house, and then it also calculates how much it needs to turn to open the latch, so we can open the door without having to fully unlock it with a key. It recognizes all of that automatically. Now, the battery is something many of you might worry about. For example, you might ask, hey, so how long does the battery last? Is it going to run out quickly? Well, with 10 openings and closings in a single day, we can get up to 9 months of battery life, which has been impossible for me to test. But it's true that the battery hardly gets used up at all. So, I do believe it can reach those 9 months of battery life they claim with 10 openings and closings a day. The device now has a backup battery. What happens when we remove the main battery and charge it via USB-C? Does our house lock not work? Well, yes, we have a smaller backup battery that will last up to 5 years for emergency situations. Then, the Vision Combo and Touch Combo have about 1 year of battery life. And these would be batteries that we can either recharge in the case of the Vision Combo, or that we can directly remove and replace with new ones in the case of the Touch Combo. Let's talk a bit about the design. When it comes to installing it, as I mentioned, we're not going to use anything beyond some screws to secure the lock or even some glue, 3M that already comes with the installation itself. So we don't have to drill anything, we don't have to take apart the lock in our house, we don't have to do absolutely anything. It's just a matter of placing it on top, sticking it or tightening a screw so it holds, and that's it. On the other hand, we can customize the cover that hides the whole mechanism. We can personalize it with different wood tones. They come as stickers, so we can put them on and take them off at any time. Although I thought it was good, I'll show you in the shots, but then I found it much more minimalist. Leaving it in black, is that bad? But many of you may wonder if this lock is connected to the internet. Is it safe? Well, it's not connected to the internet. It only works via Bluetooth. Therefore, someone on the other side of the world won't be able to send a signal to open our lock. Only people within Bluetooth range, which is about 10 meters, will be able to open it, so to speak. Now, Bluetooth communications are encrypted with the Advanced Encryption Standard 128, which makes it practically impossible to hack. And for anyone to be able to open our door, it's much easier for someone to come to our door. A locksmith can use the proper tools and manage to unlock the door, than for them to do it by generating that electronic signal or that programming that allows us to send a signal to turn and open the door of our house. So don't worry about this, because it's super secure, much more than a traditional key lock. As mentioned, when the magnetic sensor or the lock itself detects movement, if we're not within range, it will be able to send us an emergency signal to our phone to let us know that the door has been opened. This would be done through the internet, which you can choose to connect or not using a Matter standard. The Matter standard operates through a small white hub that comes with it, which I have been unable to install. I would have liked to use it with Siri, but I can't, because to use it with Siri we need to have a HomePod or an Apple television to act as that bridge. However, I don't have it at home or Home Assistant. I don't have any home automation at all, so I can't show it to you. But I try to show you some clips so you can see that you can create automations with if this then that, or with Apple's own shortcuts, or simply generate voice commands to open, close the door, lock them at night, and so on. But many of you might be wondering, hey, you can open it with the app, you can open it with these devices by entering the code and so on, or with a fingerprint. What if we're inside the house and need to lock it manually? We can do it by pressing this little central button, and it would be locked. Or we could even unlock it ourselves manually by turning this dial we have in the central part of the Lock Ultra. Now let's talk about the prices of this SwitchBot Lock Ultra. First, if we only want the lock, what would that be? This device, which allows us to open and close using Bluetooth, would cost 160 euros. This is the most advanced device you can buy for your home. Then, if you want the touch combo, it would be 250 euros. Which would be this device here that allows us to open it using a code, near-field communication cards, or a fingerprint. And 300 if we want to add the vision combo, this little device that will allow us to open the door using facial recognition when we get home and stand in front of the door. Here, you decide which configuration to set up in your home. I've shown you the 3 types, including the lock by itself. The vision combo, which allows us to open the door using facial recognition, or the touch combo, which lets us open it using a web code, fingerprint, or near-field communication card. That's all for now. Leave any questions in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. See you in the next one. Goodbye.